y'all, setting everything up, sending out all of our links. Be right there. When you come in, let me know that you're here. Send out these links. There's that one. Hope y'all are having a good Friday. I wasn't sure I was going to be here because I am having issues with my oxygen the last couple of days. It's better today, so I'm like, okay, I can go live. I feel better than I did yesterday. But, man, it was kind of touch and go, to be honest. But we're good. We're here. That's all good. Let's put this out in group. Live. Date with friends. And we're talking blues. Come join us. Link. And I will be doing a giveaway at the end of the stream. See you there. Oh. Okay, that's posted. All right, close that. Everything's good. Make sure I can see y'all. All right, we're here. Got to put our handy dandy gloves on when y'all come in. Well, oh, there it is. Oh, we're all crammed up. So we're getting our gloves on. Say hey when you get in. And I pre-mixed some resin up, and I want to do a couple different things, okay? And I have a thermometer because people have been asking about what temp, when should I do this? So we're going to talk about a couple different ways to do blooms since everyone's having such an issue, which it really is the hardest technique in resin to learn. Hey! We are going to be talking traditional ways to do blooms. Does that excite you? Because I showed y'all before how we use the white paste. Remember that? Now we're just going to use our white sinker. And I'm going to do this two different ways because so many people have asked me. I'm about to just pour my resin straight in and add my colorants and let it sit. And I'm not going to do my white swirls until my white heats up. But the other one, I'm going to let my resin heat up before I pour it in there and add my alcohol in that one. So we're going to do it a couple different ways. Oh, wow, y'all. Look at that. Have y'all had a blowout like this before? I can't believe that happened. Wow. Okay. Let me get a new glove. Can't have that. But I do have some really cute nails. My granddaughter picked it out and said I had to use it. So those are done. I had to send her a picture so she could see. All right. We're fixed. No holes in this one. All right. So we're just going to pour some of our resin in here. Get that so it's not leaking. All right. So we're going to let that. And I want to see. Right now it's cold. It's not even registering. Okay. But we're using less resin. Of course, you know I love their alcohol inks. We are going to be using the turquoise, midnight blue, and dark magenta for one of our balloons. And the other one, we're going to use medium yellow, peach, and raspberry for the second one. So we're going to leave that over here. And because I have that poured, I'm going to move this out of my way so I can see. Excuse me. And I see we have a little bubble that wants to hang on there. And I'm just using T-spurts, regular resin. They're popping by themselves. And I don't want to add, y'all know I tell you, one, don't use fire on to pop your bubbles in a mold like this, because you're going to run the risk of it melding to, in fact, I think I do have one. I don't know if you can see if I can bend it up. I have one, see that I had meld to this mold. And the only way to get it out is rip it. You see how it's got all the holes and stuff in it? It's no good anymore. So I have 5 others that are good, so I still use those. And I ordered a replacement. But, so no fire, not even a long lighter, nothing. And for this, I don't want to, let me get my little piping bag out too, so I have that ready. I don't want to put an alcohol mist over this for the bubbles, so I'm just going to let it go on its own. I'm going to let it sit there a minute. Then I'm going to add my alcohol colors. And I want to get my piping bag ready for my white, but I'm going to let it heat up in the cup by itself, like so. And I'm going to show you couple different methods for this too. Check that temperature, still low, so we're going to let it sit for a while. But I have my piping bag. I'm going to set to the side. It's ready to go. But let's go ahead and put these inks in. And I like leaving my brighter color in the middle. Hey, Tamara. I like putting my brightest colors in the middle because when I draw my bloom pattern out, I want to draw this bright color up through the leaves or the petals of the flower. That gives a great contrast. And you can do it backwards. If you want a lighter flower and put your darkest color in the center and draw that dark up through the petals, you can do that too. But that's something to keep in mind when you're pouring. There, I want to make sure y'all can see that good. So for me, I'm going to put dark around the outside. And I'm just going to, I don't want too much colorant in there. That dropped really fast. So now we're going to do teal. Woo! Yeah. I want to put that in the center. Okay. And now I'm going to let it dance around, do its thing, all of that. And we're going to let that go. Okay, I'm going to set these colors to the side. Done. Now let's talk about our white while that's doing its little thing. I have 1.5 ounces of white here. And I'm using the white sinker from Let's Resin, and I put 60 drops from my needle tip dropper. And this is the consistency that I have. You can still see the stick through this, but it's a little darker than 2% milk. And that's what I want. Maybe this is more consistent with 2%, just a tad darker. And that's what I want. for my white. So that's the white, and I'm going to let this. All right, so it's already heating up. It's already almost to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And I have a thermometer that I can switch between Celsius and Fahrenheit. So I'm doing that. Let me check my other. Nope. It's heating up. Oh, it's almost at 90 now too. So I want to get between 91 and 95. And I'm going to pour this into my coaster. What's that? That is on my coaster. Oh, glad I saw that. When it gets to 91 and 95, I'm going to pour it in here. I'm going to add my inks. And then I'm going to wait until my white is about 93 to 95. Oh, it's 91.9. So it's getting there. It's heating up. And this is almost at 90. So we're just going to let it sit a minute. Now you see how these inks are moving in? If you want to, you can go back and add, and this comes out quick, y'all. You can add some more around the outside. And I'm going to do that to one side, and I'm going to leave the other side open and clear. So you can see the difference when I add a backing to this, which is not going to be in this video, because these will have to sit for 2 to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, before I add a backing color to it. So I will make a short, or I'll make a very short video to show you the results. These are the deep coaster molds from Let's Resin. I really love them. In fact, where did it go? I just did some Galaxy, and you see how thick it is. But I did some Galaxy coasters. I just finished the back. I just pulled them out. I need to do another little top coat, sand down the edges. But if y'all want, in fact, I did video this process. So I'll be uploading how to do these too this weekend, once I get everything edited and done. So I like the deep coasters because you can do more like 3D effect with them. I don't know. I like them that way myself, because I can put a color down and then build color on top of it through different levels. So when you look at the side of the coaster, you can see the different layers. So it really gives that 3D look. So I'll upload that, because I did do a how-to video on that. And I'll have it up this weekend, fingers crossed, that I don't have any more oxygen issues. But I see, oh, I thought that was a bubble. It's not. But there is a little bubble hanging out on the bottom here I want to get rid of. And I'll use my, ooh, I thought I had a wipe out. What I just hide down? Where did they go? They ran away. There they are. Hiding. Everything hides because it's Friday, right? We did our long weekend. Our long week of stuff. We're done. All right. Keep baby wipes handy so you can wipe your sticks off like so. Just gonna wipe this up too. Put that down so I feel again. These to the side. All right, let's check our temperatures. Oh, that's heating up real quick. Okay, so let's pour this because we're getting to temp. That out of the way. And remember last time we did this? So we have lemon yellow we're going to put in the center. Okay. And you can do this without a thermometer. We're going to do, and I'm just going to do like so. And then we're going to do our red as our dark color outside. All right, now I'm going to let that move and dance around. I want to get this white. Yes, I do have a cup. I'm going to put my bag over this cup. And why do I do that? So my hands are free to make sure I get all of that white in this bag. And now I'm going to put this in here. Dagnabbit. I have to grab my scissors because I got them somewhere else. So I can cut a hole in the bag. Then we're going to talk about that's inside. Let me grab my scissors because I did not put them back. Y'all do that too? Use something that don't put it back. Where do you got it from? All right. I have my little scissors now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my bag like so. Flip it up. And I want to make sure that all this is down at the bottom. And I'm going to twist. Some people tie a knot, and that's fine. But this is not warm to touch. And I want to show you. It says it's 96, but it's not warm. So, yeah. Exactly. I agree. All the time. So what I want to do is I'm just going to cut a very small point of this off because I don't want my white super strong or super wide. So I'm going to go over here because I don't want it to fall into my... All right, put my scissors away. And now I have my white ready. Okay. And it's thickened up. So let's start here first. And we're just going to swirl this around. And I'm just going to do this twice. I'm not going to do a lot of it. And here is ours that's heated up. And if you have a little blob, you know, it gets too thick, it really should be the consistency of a spaghetti noodle. Okay, and I'm just going to set this back in the cup so it's out of my way. So if I have a little blob like here, I'm just going to stretch it out. So it's like the consistency of a spaghetti noodle. And that will prevent it from sinking to the bottom. That's why you'll see little blobs on some people. And it may have happened to you. It's happened to me numerous times. Where on the front side of the bloom, you have these little blobs that stick there. So that's how you can alleviate those blobs just by taking a silicone tip or a toothpick, whatever you have handy, and just stretch those lines out. And I think I'm going to add some more around the outside of this. Just do one more little swirl. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. We're just going to add some more around the outside, and that's it. No more. Because if you overdo it, white takes over and you lose your colorants. I've seen other people use a different color for their balloons, but the thing is you need that sinker white. And this sinker white is an alcohol ink white that has a little bit of paste added into it. That's what makes it sink and pull down through your colors that you add for your flower. So that's, I've seen people do it with different colors of paste, and they use a very small amount of paste from a jar. Like we did the last one, we used the white paste. So very small. In fact, there's one of our blooms that we did last time with just the white paste. And remember, on this one, I used the interference powders, but I put it in the bag and didn't drop it in the resin because mica always migrates to the center. So I wanted to see if we piped this interference mica out in a bag, if that would prevent it from migrating toward the center. And I think it did. I don't see that migration like we normally see on this. So, and you can see I added a lot of white in this one. So a lot of white takes over. That's what I'm saying. So be careful when you add your swirls that you don't go overboard and add a whole lot of white. Just add it and walk away and let it do its thing. Now, with gold, you have to be very careful because it's that metallic. And remember last time, I don't think I have the other ones near. Last time we used metallic alcohol inks with the white paste. And I'll put a link. Oh, I do have it right here. Here's the black and white one. We use the black and white metallic alcohol inks with the white paste on this one. So you can see the difference in that. And that was just straight paste from my jar that we mixed up to be a little darker than 2% milk. It should have been lighter. I put too much paste in there, I think. But paste is heavy, so you've got to keep that in mind. You don't want a whole lot of it, or it's going to sink. It's going to sink. It's going to sink and stay where you put it. So if you use just a very tiny amount of paste, then you're going to allow it to pull those colors down. All right. What did I just get in here? Wow. I don't know what that was. Dropped off my glove. It's crazy. But now this is the difference. Okay. Usually if I do this method where I pour my resin straight in, add my alcohol inks, walk away, and I let that sit for about 45 minutes. Okay. And that allows my white to heat up while this is dancing and doing its thing. Because we're at a stage now that the resin is hot. Let's check it. We're at 90.6, almost 91. And let's see what this one is. This one's at 97. So we want these to be hotter because as resin sits and heats up, it thickens up too, right? So I'm going to draw my petals in this one and you'll see what I'm talking about. So we're going to draw, and I have a method to my drawing. I always go by the clock face. I start at 12, 6, well, for y'all, well, I'm going to do it my way. 12 o'clock to the center, 6 o'clock to the center, and I'm not going all the way to the bottom of the coaster. I'm only going about 3/4 of the way down. Then I do 3 o'clock, 9, and you see we have these 4 petals, right? And we're going to divide them in half. So 2 o'clock to the center, 4 o'clock, 7, and 10. That's the easiest way I always do that pattern. Clock helps me remember what I'm supposed to do. Now, we're going to go from the inside and we're going to pull out to the outside. And this is where I'm talking about. You want to pull your center color up through your petal to add that accent to your flower petal, right? I missed one here. Oop, we got a Loki. Husky hair. So I'm going to pull all of these through. So we have that. Those are all done. And now we're going to swirl the center, and that's what creates our little bud in the center of our rose. And I like to do mine wide and just stir slow, like so. And then you have your center. Okay. So now we're just going to let everything bloom out. The white's going to spread and bloom and do its thing. And that's it. You do that and you walk away. Don't mess with anything. Excuse me. No fire for bubbles. The key to this really is using a good resin. This one I'm using Teachburg because it's a little thicker. And this is the biggest tip for blooms. The thicker resin that you use, the better your result is going to be. Because thicker resin adds resistance for your colors and everything that drops down. So it doesn't spread out real fast when it's real thin, right? So if you put something in water, poof, it's going to go real fast. If you put something in honey, it's going to have to go slower because there's resistance in that thicker liquid. Does that make sense? So for the best results for blooms, Petri, dragon scales, puddle pores, crackle, you want a thicker resin, like a top coat resin or a coating resin. Those are what you want to look for. So I'm using Teachburg because it is a thicker resin. Now let me draw in my blue here. So we have 12, 6, 3, and I'm wiping my stick off between because I don't want to mix up my colors and muddy them. So we go 2, 7, there, here, and then we're going to pull out. Okay. In this, we don't have that real true contrast like you see over here, which is fine because this is still going to be beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And I added more colorant to this one, so we can't forget that either. All right. I think everything is done, and I'm going to stir my rosebud in the center. And we're going to let it cure. That's it. Not going to do anything else to it. That's all there is to it, y'all. Now, you can already see these are starting to bloom out. You can already see the white mixing with the pinks and the reds and creating layers there. And I'm just going to let it cure. Now I'm going to let this sit for about, well, I want to show you. We'll do this one and we'll let this one sit. I'm going to go ahead and spray this with alcohol ink, okay, to bust any bubbles that are on top. I'm going to let this sit for 30 minutes or so. I'm not going to make you wait and watch that. And then I'll spray this one with alcohol ink. But I want to let this start doing its thing before I add this alcohol, because this alcohol can interfere with the reaction. Okay, so we're just going to do our bubble sit thing for these, and I'm going to put a top coat on these. This one, I think I'm just going to do a white top coat since we're using the blue. And this one, I'm going to do black because I really want these colors to pop off of this. I might find another color for this one. Maybe I'll do a teal. I can do that. We can do a teal background for this one. I think that'll be pretty because the white will pop off and this dark blue will pop off that teal. What do y'all think? Teal or white for the blue one? Whatever y'all decide is what we're going to do. Take my handy dandy gloves off. You're done with that. Teal. All right, we'll do teal. That's going to look cool. And that's something that you don't really see a lot of. Okay, I told you guys I was going to be doing a giveaway. So we're going to do that. And these. Here we go. Here it comes. 5 memberships. Who do we have? Ooh, Sue got one. Good job. All right, y'all. If you got a membership, comment. Let me know. If you didn't catch this live and you're part of the rewatch crew, comment below rewatch crew so I know how many we have watching after the fact. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad I got to show you this. This is a traditional way of doing a bloom using our alcohol inks and our white sinker, which you can also use Pinata, Cast and Craft, Let's Resin, Sinker White. All of those are fine for this. And you want to make sure that your white is a little darker than 2% milk. So those are the tricks. And we're testing. One we poured right away, one we let heat up to temperature. So we're going to see the effects that we get, if that makes a difference. Okay? So there we have it, y'all. That's what we have for this Friday. I'm not going to make it long, but I hope that gave you information that you didn't know or some tips or tricks. And for this white, I did 1.5 ounces of resin and I put 60 drops using my needle point. Now the drops coming out of the bottle may be bigger, so it may not be 60 from the bottle, but from this needle nose, I would say from regular sinker white bottle, start with 25. Stir it up and test. You want to be able to see your stick through your white, but you want it to be a little darker than 2% milk, and then you're good. And remember, don't over swirl it. Just do it and leave it alone. Let it do its thing. Okay? Those are the pros and tips, y'all. I hope you learned something. I hope that this makes it feel less intimidating to try because we learn through trial and error. Okay? We're going to see how this experiment works out. I'll add the backing colors and I'll do a short video and make sure you guys get to see that in the end results in one of my shorts or short video. I'll make sure you guys have it in group, and I'll also link it in the post section here on my channel. So there you go, guys. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the weather. It's turning and changing. Getting some cool weather finally. I hope you are too. But until next time, y'all, make sure you give this a thumbs up so other people can find it. Subscribe if you haven't, because there's a lot of people who watch these who don't hit that subscribe button. And that's the best way to help the channel. Other than that, y'all have a great one. Happy arting, and I'll see you next time. Ta-ta for now.